Bruno Mars is overall as a singer, songwriter, performer, dancer, better than Michael Jackson.
Wow. Welcome everyone to episode 3 of the Blazers Are Cool podcast with Jethro and Brad. Hi, Brad.
How's it going?
Today, we are coming to you on the eve of the NBA Cup final.
Any compliments for my new Blazer beanie?
I did notice you're wearing a beanie in all of the clips so far, and you really are, as our avid fan, Fly Guy put it, you really are Beanie Boy.
I'm the Beanie Boy. You want to get into our topics?
Yeah. So in Blazer discourse, as of the past couple days, it seems like Scoot Henderson is the biggest talking point. You know, it comes and goes, but it seems like right now it's peaking.
What's funny about it is nothing new has happened. Like nothing's changed.
No, nothing has changed. We're gonna get into that, but first we're going to get into not Scoot things. And talk about some good and some other players that we just felt, need some light shined on them before we kind of dive deep into that discussion we're gonna have.
It's kind of the same too for me. It's kind of the same too. I guess positives that it kind of has felt like all season. One, how right were we that Clingan was something to look forward to?
Clingan was the whole thing to look forward to last time, and it seemed to pan out pretty well.
I loved watching it this week.
Just especially, and we're not getting a huge dose of him.
Yeah.
He's still really heavily limited on minutes, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he'll ever be like a 35. I mean, if he got to 30 minutes a game at any point in his career, that would be pretty impressive.
I'm playing. Here's the thing. I must not. Because I hear that a lot. I must not know what the minutes expectation is for him. Because I've been here. At
UConn, Donovan Clingan wasn't getting a lot of minutes either.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's coming into the NBA and we're holding him back necessarily because he's not ready. It's a bit health now, but he came in healthy and we were still holding him back. So it's been a thing for his professional, we'll call it, career.
Sure. I still think, and the reason I say this is because I can't think of other elite bigs who have had to play less than 30 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna. I don't know. I think it's just right now because he's never done it before. So it's gonna take a year, maybe 2 years to get into like proper playing time. But I'm still fully expecting him to be like a 33, 34 minute per game guy at his peak.
Yeah.
I hope I'm right about that.
Yeah, if he gets there and he's effective, like I think he will be, then he'll be quite the piece we have going forward.
I mean, watching him is like, it's everything. Because, I mean, I was a big Clingan guy before the draft. I was really hoping.
It's true. It's true, folks.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. That is true. Yeah. Clingan has been, I think he's been just a joy to watch. And even though we're still not winning those games, we could lose those games by 30. And I still think we'd be like losing those games the right way is how it feels watching him. Because you watch him like, okay, there's not a lack of effort. There's not a lack of doing the right things on the court. It's such a more enjoyable experience to see a big who is massive, which is, that's Clingan's whole thing. Yeah. Whose positioning is amazing, who's incredibly physical, the best offensive rebounder in the league statistically, percentage-wise, already. Also one of the best, probably the best shot blocker in the league, per minute. I mean, he's making an immediate impact that single-handedly through his screening, through his toughness, through his paint protection, is making everything look so much better. Just from like a viewing experience. Because I was thinking this during the first quarter of the Suns game yesterday when we got down, I think in his first stretch, it was 6 minutes into the first quarter, we were down 18-10. And I wasn't mad. Because we started a lot of games down a lot, but I was watching it. It's like watching Clingan protect the paint. They were just making tough shots, and it's like we were losing in a way that you can accept. Per minute, I truly think he's already a top 5 defender. And watching him make that impact, especially compared to Ayton, he does everything we wish Ayton did. I would be shocked if he stays relatively healthy, if he's not an all-NBA defender. And I think he's going to be a borderline all-star. I really do. Because he's a per-minute beast. If he can get those minutes up to like 28 minutes a game, he's going to be like an 18, 14, and 3 or 4 blocks a game guy.
Yeah. What I've really liked about watching these past 2 games, particularly in the Spurs game, is he got to match up against Wemby. And that is something that if you think about, okay, the Blazers want to succeed in the postseason eventually one day. It seems like
Yeah.
a forever road to go right now, but
Yeah, I know.
eventually one day we're gonna have to be matched up against these teams, and you're
You
gonna
would
have to
assume
think about
so.
how these players are gonna go against each other.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest one right now is who in the league is gonna match up with Wemby, like who on
Yeah.
your team is gonna match up with Wemby.
Yeah.
And Clingan like held his own very well.
He did
I mean,
awesome.
yeah, he was. I mean, Wemby's bringing up the ball and he's getting dragged out all the way to the 3-point line. He's getting low. He's getting wide. He's ready for him to pull up from three. He has to guard. I mean, that's the better part of Wemby's game right now is out on the perimeter, and he has to go do that. On the flip side, watching him in the Suns game going against Nurkic was kind of fun to see, like, the future of the Blazers versus the past of the Blazers.
Yeah.
And I thought he, especially going back over the highlights, I thought he did such a good job at making Nurkic look like he made the wrong decision on a pick and roll so often. Whether it was Jeremy, Delano, Scoot playing with him, he was able to just kind of ride close enough. And then as soon as, Nurk would make the bite for the pass, all they had to do was toss it up. And Clingan has been amazing at finishing those pick and rolls. And he's such a good screener. He's such a good screener that no matter where he starts that pick and roll on the court, it looks like it's going to do it. It's going to work out well.
His on-ball screening, his off-ball screening, and his offensive rebounding. I think those are three things that are going to make our offense look so much better, along with the obvious, like, immediate, massive defensive improvements that we have when he's in the game. He could easily end up being like a best defender in Blazers history kind of guy. I'm going to give that take right now.
Yeah.
That in 10 years, I would not be surprised if we're like, oh, he, next to Bill Walton, is the best defender we've ever had. And I think he's already showing it. He's everything that I hoped he would be, which is just awesome.
After, our 20 minutes of absolutely glazing him. If there's something I'm definitely going to nitpick from Clingan, it's the fouls. He got into it last night, he had 5. I don't think it still affected his minutes really, at least too much. But 5 fouls like in 19 minutes is just kind of like we want you to grow into this player and be on the court for 30 minutes.
Did he have 5 fouls last night?
He had 5 fouls last night.
I actually don't think I knew that.
And I think it was a couple that he racked up like right towards the end. And like they were kind of loose ball fouls. It's a lot of like getting his hands in there, just being antsy. And I don't worry too much because I think that is something that can be changed very easily.
Yes.
Or just does change over time. So it's not something, I'm like, oh, he's going to be this problem in the foul game.
Exactly. 100%
if the foul game is a real
foul
thing.
Game, man.
But
foul game's crazy.
Foul game's stupid, actually.
Yeah. What do you think of Deni? What do you think of Deni's last 2 games? Because I have some takes, but I would love to know what you think.
When Deni comes into the game is when I feel like the game starts.
Oh, yes. That is so beautifully said. Yes.
Because our starting lineup just gives me so much, especially when it's Aiden, just so much bleh. Like,
it's lethargic.
They come out, they go through our stupid motions.
Yep.
What did I say the other day? I said the Blazers look like they're going through the motions, but the motions are terribly designed and then they're poorly executed. Yeah, they come out like that. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Let's hope we don't lose the game in the first 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And then Deni comes in.
Yeah.
I go, all right.
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of like a slow intro to a song. What's the My Chemical Romance song?
Welcome to the Black Parade.
Yeah, it's kind of like Welcome to the Black Parade.
Yes. Oh, nice. What a great. Yes.
And then I'm like, okay, let's go. And Deni's running up and down the court. He looks like the best. He so visually looks like the best 3-point shooter on the team right now. And that's saying with Anthony Simons on the court. Like, he gets a 3, and I get that feeling like, ooh, this might go in. And I think I saw on the Reddit, I mean, he's shooting 51% from 3 in the last 10 games. Mm-hmm. Off the bench, he gets me excited.
Do you think Deni's our best player?
Yeah. The short answer, yes.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think we've been saying that for a little while. It started jokingly, but I think we've been saying that for a little after his shooting slump.
It was on the Blazers post, the Rip City wrap up yesterday. Oh, yeah. Is how they were talking about how much they love Deni as a 6-man. And I just completely disagree with that. I feel like, we see it when Clingan and Rob Williams replace Ayton. in the starting lineup, how it makes an immediate difference. I feel like we're seeing there's a final piece to us being a really enjoyable watch, and it's finally going back to starting Deni. I get so frustrated, which we'll talk about later, when I see a lot of people talking about how, Shaden and Scoot aren't getting the development they need. Meanwhile, they're getting just as many minutes most of the time as a guy who's our best player in Deni. Because like you said, it's an immediate now the game started when he checks into the game. He's everything that we are hoping we play like. Really active defense on the wing. And when Clingan's in, a genuine, because Tumani's also fantastic, but putting Deni with Tumani gives us a truly elite defense on the wing. And with Clingan in the middle, we have a true inside-out defense, which is awesome. Can't wait to see Deni in that starting lineup. I think it's going to make the game so much better. And he, I think, would agree with us, because watching his post-game interview after last night's game, he brought up how he is disappointed to see our effort at the beginning of games.
A nice little push there at the end. What were you guys kind of saying to each other in that fourth quarter?
I feel like we just kept playing hard. I feel like we should have started that earlier. I don't think we should start playing like that when stuff like goes downhill.
I kind of take that as he's disappointed with the effort before he checks in.
Yeah.
Which I completely agree with. But Deni's style of play is just, it looks so high effort, and it makes the game so much better. It opens it up for everyone. I can't wait to see him start when it eventually happens.
Yeah. Well, what I'll say to the starting thing is that he started the year and had like the worst shooting slump I think I've ever seen. I think I felt confident enough that we didn't just break him, or we didn't get fleeced.
Sure.
This was just weird. So then I think that's probably why he went back into the bench.
Yeah.
Mix things up, slow things down, get him accustomed. So I think and not that you were, or either of us were, but I won't give Chauncey too much flack, at least for things going that way.
I don't think I would either.
But now, but now we're seeing how much of an impact he has in these bench minutes. We're seeing how just well-rounded and hard he plays, like you were saying.
Sure.
That I think you're right. To be in the starting lineup, to get things going right off the bat, would actually lead to some wins, it feels like, in the first half. I mean, that Spurs game, we went insane in the third quarter, and that's the only reason we had that lead. But it's first halves of games have really not been our thing.
No.
So I don't know how we go about getting him in there for Jeremy, but that, again, at the end of the day, it's not really our problem.
Or maybe for Shaden?
They won't like that.
No.
They really won't like that one.
And I think this leads into the Scoot stuff. Should we move on to the Scoot stuff?
So Scoot, like we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, or the show, whatever you want to call us, Scoot has been a hot topic. After, I would say, this Suns game is kind of, I think some just tensions of, it's been a while, Scoot hasn't done a lot, he was hurt for that time. It was just kind of normal, okay, when's Scoot going to do something? And I think this Suns game was the game everyone was waiting to see in terms of lack of production, for it to be okay, I'm bored of trade talks, let's talk about Scoot. And that's kind of where we're at now. I think all over Twitter and all over Reddit too, it's been two-sided of Scoot is not doing enough and he doesn't deserve starting minutes. He needs to show that he's doing more with the 25 minutes a game.
26 minutes, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
26 minutes a game he's getting right now. Yeah. The other side is there's this log jam at the guard position. Everything's cluttered for the Blazers. Scoot coming off the bench and playing with the lesser players on our team is stunting what he can do as a play. Basically, the big argument is as a playmaker. He's not going to be able to get his assists up because people can't make shots. Sure. He's not going to have open driving lanes or open shots because the people he's playing with aren't going to be able to create that for him. All of the reasons, without basically mentioning that playing off the bench means you're playing against worse competition.
Yeah, for sure.
At the end of the day, or actually at the start of the day, I would say that's kind of the first point you make about the bench. To me, it seems like there's kind of two sides of the coin, where it's everyone agrees that he sucks and he's not producing right now. Yeah. Do you either want to blame him or you want to blame the team, the opportunities he's been given?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a really good point. What you just said is that, because I brought this up earlier, how he's been such a hot topic after these 2 games, but without anything different really happening. Like, he's playing the same way he's been playing since he got into the NBA, since we drafted him. But I think what you said is exactly right, is that the way the tides are kind of turning a bit and fans' perception of him is less that because his play is changing. But I mean, for last year, there were still a lot of people who thought Scoot looked exciting, which I could see at points. I absolutely agreed with. There was moments and flashes that looked exciting, but the people who have been very pro Scoot, let's also get this out of the way. We are not at all Scoot haters, because there's such like a volatile reaction amongst Blazer fans if you're really hard on Scoot, where people are you just don't want to see. I've gotten this argument online and with people in real life. I talk to people in real life too. A bunch where, like, if you say you've been disappointed with Scoot, if you think that you don't think he's part of a serious part of our future, that he's not going to be a star, it's like, oh, you're a Scoot hater who's looking for him to not succeed. We would love nothing more. You watch this team and it's like the one thing it's missing is one more elite prospect, specifically at point guard. But it seems like people now the argument is is less, oh, he looks good, no, he doesn't. It's, okay, we both agree he looks bad, but the fault is this.
It's just kind of this scale of like, how fixable do you think he is? And it's no one out there is saying, I need more of him because it'll make us win. It's all people saying, if we don't let him play more, he's never going to be fixed. Or, you're kind of on the other end where the pure 0 out of 100 is he's not fixable. It's over.
Let's talk about the 3 reasons I think that we can both agree on that why people think, the people who are, still, and I don't blame people who are still hopeful for Scoot, because I know you and I are pretty gloomy about him, but I don't blame people who think, who are hoping the best for him. I'm hoping for the best for him. You are too, because we traded arguably our greatest franchise player because of our draft pick of him, which that's not his fault, obviously.
I think that's why it seeps into a personal thing for people.
Absolutely.
Because he was drafted number 3. We traded Dame for him. We made it a point that we want him for the future instead of you for the rest of what you've got. The fact that we picked Scoot over Dame is what turns it into a little bit more of like you want him to fail, like you want to be so right type.
Exactly. And I think the 3 people who are still very pro Scoot, their argument is one of 3 things: that it is Chauncey's offensive scheme, or his inability to, put him in the right position to succeed. It's a lack of volume and playing time, and it's having to play with Jeremy and Anthony. That is, killing his ability to play, or to, play his style of basketball.
Well, I'll just say to the scheme. So here's what makes me the most hesitant or the most doubtful of Scoot. And it kind of ties into Chauncey's scheme thing. Is because Scoot Henderson should be a really good one-on-one drive to the hoop, like take a screen and go type of player. That's the offense we're running. Like you said, there's not a lot of off-ball stuff. It's all on ball. That's what our offense gives him, and he can't do it. And he just is not succeeding with it. He's not scoring. He's not creating shots at the rim.
He's not,
He's a good passer, and he's good at finding the corner guy, and he's good at finding the roll man, but just not enough. And I don't think anyone is saying that. I think his biggest supporters would say he's doing that enough, and I think that's fine, but like getting to the hoop scoring, he's just doing none of.
I think one of the reasons the offense looks the way it does at times is because of Scoot's inability to do things. You say he's a good passer, which I agree with, despite him averaging, I think it's 5 assists and 3 turnovers a game right now, which is a dreadful turnover to assist ratio. The reason for that is because Scoot, he doesn't have the ability to shoot. So teams go under him on every single screen because they can. When he drives, he's not a good finisher. So when he drives to the hoop, he does not collapse defenses. So he's not able to kick it out to the corner for anywhere for 3. I don't know if he's a good passer because he's not capable of doing the things that create open looks for other people. So, he puts up a lot of turnovers, but it's because he has to make a pass that isn't there because he doesn't draw in defenders to make those good passes. And this is what's frustrating for me right here about, Chauncey's system not being fit for him.
Yeah.
Scoot gets good shots. He gets pretty wide open shots. He doesn't shoot them very well. He gets pretty good shots at the rim. He doesn't finish well. I know that sounds like an oversimplification, but that's what it is. Could Chauncey make it easier for him? Absolutely. I think if he was running an offensive scheme, it could benefit him. But is that the difference between Scoot being super promising and looking like a league worst guy? No. It could be the difference between him looking like a league worst guy and really, really bad. You know what I mean? What do you think about the idea that Scoot just needs basically more minutes and more shots?
So the first thing that I think of when that happens is, has he earned it?
Exactly, 100%.
And the resounding answer is no.
No.
And the best argument, I guess I'll say, that I've seen for him getting more minutes works better. Where we felt best about Scoot was at the end of last season.
Yeah.
When we were in, everyone's hurt, fully tank mode, blah, blah, blah. And he was playing with not great guys, but he was still getting good assist numbers. And he was scoring more.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't close to efficient.
No.
What he was doing.
And he was having double-digit turnover games.
Yeah. It was throwing the ball away constantly.
Yeah.
We were getting dog walked in every game we tried to compete in.
Yeah.
I think about the game when we played the Clippers in the NBA Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And we came out and Chris Dunn turned Anthony Simons and Shaedon Sharpe into 7-year-old children out there who had no idea what to do besides pass or dribble. If Chris Dunn were to go on to Scoot Henderson to start a game, it would continue to break him as a player.
Oh, yeah.
I can't understand the logic that being on the court with starters and would open up his offensive game when you're not also taking into the fact that being on the court with the best defenders in the league would not hurt your game.
Absolutely.
So
100%. This season, he started 3 games when Ant was out. He averaged 8.7 points and 7.7 assists and 4.3 turnovers. So 7.7 assists and 4.3 turnovers, and shot 34% from the field and 18% from 3, and struggled mightily against starters defensively for minutes. Right now we're seeing that he's playing 26 minutes a game on very high usage, 22% usage, which that's high. I know Ant is at a 24% usage. He's getting the opportunities and he's not seizing the moments. He's not seizing the opportunity for himself. What do you think about the idea that it's Ant and Jeremy that's kind of holding him back?
How do you mean by that?
So I've been seeing a lot of people talk about how basically the reason for Scoot struggling is that because Ant and Jeremy being really heavy on-ball players, Scoot is, I think this is ridiculous, but Scoot is being used as nothing more than a spot-up guy who stands in the corner.
I think they're not wrong in their thinking that is an absolutely terrible place for Scoot to be in. When they see the times that Scoot is like that, because he wanders around, he's in the corner sometimes. So I don't fault them for seeing that and go, oh my God,
why is he
that
there?
can never happen.
Sure.
But I do agree with you that Scoot has his on-ball moments. Like Jeremy and Ant have their time with the ball, and then Scoot is standing around. But Scoot gets plenty of on-ball moments.
Yeah.
And what does he do with them? Nothing.
I want to talk about this take that a lot of people have right now, that we are running a Ant-only offense, that it is completely centered around Ant having the ball 24 seconds out of the shot clock. Anthony has, I looked this up earlier, has a 24% usage rate. Scoot has a 22% usage rate. He has the ball. We're not using him that much off ball. We're not putting him in the corner, which the one game where I thought we did kind of put him a lot in the corner or use him more as like an off-ball guy was that Pacers
game.
Yeah, which was the best game of his career. But if we're using Scoot as a spot-up shooter, then all hope is lost. And also, here's this other thing I saw, that Scoot and Anthony also spend, seconds with the ball per touch, that they are at the same amount of time spent with the ball per touch. What Scoot needs right now is as many easy opportunities as possible to look good at all. And the only times he's going to get those is when he's playing with Anthony and Jeremy because they're the only two real shooters on the floor for the Blazers.
It just seems like everything he's doing right now is very hard, and especially on that defensive side, everything he's trying to do is not working.
And let's emphasize that again, because we talked so much about his offense. Scoot has been so bad defensively.
This is trying to make every excuse and every rationalization for one side of the ball with him, and the other one, no one seems to talk about in the slightest.
And he's arguably worse. I think he's a worse defender than he is an offensive player. I think people have been disappointed with his offensive play, that they're, saying this like almost hopefully like, oh, he's improved a lot on defense this year. He's slightly better, but I still think he's one of the worst off-ball defenders that I've seen on the Blazers in a long time.
The most comparable situation I can think of from this to the NFL for any of our NFL fans is thinking about Bryce Young. He was the number one pick at quarterback. Obviously looked completely out of touch physically. That's kind of where Scoot is. He doesn't look quick enough. He doesn't look strong enough. He doesn't look athletic enough to fit out there. That's what Bryce Young looked like. Bryce Young's superpower is supposed to be his ability to read defenses, his ability to create out of structure. That wasn't showing. Scoot, that's not showing. He's turning it over. He looks lost on defense. It took a year and a half. Bryce Young did come out of his shell, I guess, for a 4-game stretch. If you gave me what is 20 games of Scoot, the equivalent to 4 games in the NFL, of good basketball, of low turnovers, of give me 12 3 boards and 6 assists with 1.5 turnovers a game, I'll flip my script. I'll be like, this can go somewhere. He's 20 years old. We can have that. We're seeing nothing but, to be blunt, garbage right now, and we have to be real about that as Blazer fans. Okay, Brad, looking ahead, I have an idea.
Nice.
My idea for fixing Scoot, or just one thing that I think could help him, is to really, really just emphasize the pick and roll.
Absolutely.
Like, anytime Scoot Henderson touches the ball, you have Donovan Clingan or Robert Williams come set him a screen at the top of the key. And you just do that over and over and over with him. And I know it's always, some things are going to break down, but if you want to see what Scoot can do in a high usage situation, and again, we already talked about how much he's already getting used, let's do it with the one thing that he's good at. Not what Chauncey's offense looks like, but just do the pick and roll and go from there every single time. And then that way, that's the best thing that gets his confidence up, but just really emphasize the pick and roll and get Donovan and Rob, because they're really good screeners. If you do it with Aiden, it might break down.
I love that. That's great. Because I have an idea.
You have an idea? What's your idea?
My idea is for Scoot to just play in transition as much as possible. I think it's the kind of thing where, our offense is terrible. It's obviously not doing him any favors. Like we said, we don't think it's a difference between him being good or bad. But do what Deni does. Get the ball and push. Because Scoot, at the end of the day, still is quick. He still has a nice first step. He's still strong. So if he has like a full head of steam behind him, he should, it sucks because he still plays so out of control that I think he is intentionally slowing things down so he doesn't play that out of control. I think he needs to find a way to push it in transition as possible without, looking out of control. Because Deni does it. Scoot, I think that is his one solution going forward, is become a Ricky Rubio type player who gets the ball and goes and creates plays in transition. And that's your thing.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see from him.
I hope they take our ideas.
Oh, I know. Hopefully they're watching right now.
Hopefully they're watching.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. That was episode 3 of the Blazers Are Cool podcast.
The Blazers are cool.
If we don't get to you guys.
That's what I'm reminded of every week. No matter how much we suck, we are cool.